Okay, welcome. This is every Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we do live in the mountains, as you can see up there. So we are Mountain Standard Time. As we get online here and get some questions, I got a couple of questions that I've got that some email came in. And one thing I wanted to kind of give some people a little bit of hope for or focus on is how to avoid stress. I was talking with an owner builder this morning. He made an interesting observation. And he said, Keith, and we actually did a post on this. It'll become a lengthy post, but he gave some real private stuff later after we did the post. And he said, things weren't exactly as I wanted them to be because I'm a business owner and he has 150 employees. And he gives details as to how he wants things done because he's the employer. And it was really hard for him to move from being an employer to a contractor who subcontracts out to independent contractors. And it was kind of a transition for him because they operate their business their way. They don't operate their business his way. And so he finally went home, talked with his wife, and then he says, I'm just going to relax. It's okay. It didn't turn out the way I wanted to, but it's fine. This is the way they chose to do it, and it's working out just fine. And so the minute he relaxed just a little bit, then he was able to work within the expectations of other subcontractors. And I'm not saying that things are so bad that it's a subpar situation. It's not like that at all. It's more about the process whereby things are done. And this is where owner builders really get turned into a knot, is that they think that a certain process has to be done a certain way, but that's not the case. You can get 5 different electricians and they will all wire a house a little bit differently. And so if you have a perspective in your mind as to how it should be done, and they do it differently, meaning it's the same end result, it's the same product, but how you do it is differently. For example, I remember being on a job and the lead electrician would say, I want you to do home runs. And I said, what's home runs? He goes, I want you to pull the main circuits for all the different locations first. And I want you to start with the 14-2 wire first. And then we'll do the 12-2 wire. I go, great. All right. And I worked with another electrician. He says, oh, let's just get all low volt done first. We'll do the high volt later. And so it's the process. And everyone has a different process on whereby and how they do things. So you have to, as owner builders, relax a little bit. Otherwise, you're just going to have too much cortisol in your system. You're going to stress out and have a heart attack. So relax. Everybody has a different process whereby they do things. And if you can just relax through that, you're still getting the same end product. Okay, same end product, and you'll be you'll be able to enjoy it. And that's what he made a comment to me. He says, I'm going to choose to enjoy this process. I'm not going to let myself get tied up in the knots. I'm going to choose to enjoy this. And as a result, things went a lot smoother. So this is the best advice I can give, especially as a lot of owner builders are breaking ground this time of year. They're already getting ready to get into a dry-in, and usually breaking ground is early spring, late summer, and you're seeing a lot of that right now. So I wanted to give you some heads up, chill out, relax. It's the end product that matters and not necessarily how they get there. Everybody does it differently. Okay, let's take some questions real quick.
First, Michael.
Michael, I'm so stressed right now. I'm glad I started off with that. Ooh, speaking of wiring a house, we're the best resource to figure out how to wire a home or diagram it up first. That's a really good question. If I was at your house, I could kind of tell you as a former electrician, but the best route to go, there's a plumber out there. There's 2 or 3 channels that are plumbers, and they do a really, really good job. But I have not found a channel that really talks about electrical because it's so tight. It's really specific with regard to load counts, and there's a lot more math to it. And there's a lot more regulation with regard to electrical. And there's some that can show you how to wire a 3-wire, an outlet, stuff like that. But as far as a home, it's really, really different. I can just give you a couple of pointers. If you're wiring your home, get an electrician on board to guide you. Ask them, say, I'll tell you what, if I do the home runs and pull all the wire, get all the circuits and stuff like that, will you do the panel for me? And will you show me how to do a plug? Or will you show me how to do a GFI? Stuff like that. Stove is going to be more like an 8-wire, and 20 amp circuits is 12 2-wire. Once you learn that stuff, there's a book out there called The Funnies or something. It's an actual code book that you can actually flip to. And a lot of electricians have it in their belt. And so they're looking at their circuits and what the load count is on a circuit. And then they can actually go to that. And go to an electrical wholesale supply place. And you can ask them. If you go to the box stores, to the electrical section for all the wiring, they typically have an electrician there who has some experience, but only in the mornings. Don't go there in the late afternoon to try to ask questions. You're going to get somebody from a different aisle that doesn't know anything about electrical. So asking around, talking around, but if you have an electrician who can kind of mentor you through the process, that might be advice. So.
And I'm heading to a conference in a couple weeks, and there might be a resource there that I'll find out about. Might have a YouTube channel or something. So
yeah, we haven't found one yet. So good question. Peyton, hey guys, Keith, did you create a series on Joe's building science books? And how long do you plan to do these lives? They're the highlight of my week. I've started them, and I've got his over here. I started reading Joe's stuff, and Joe comes from an academic arena, and so do I. But I've learned to really get shallower waters in my writing. And so as I read Joe, I said, boy, these could be really simplified. And I've been thinking about that, to take a lot of this stuff and actually putting it into a more accessible arena. And it's an undertaking, because he's got 4 or 5 books that are out there. And I really wanted to I have a lot of the work done. Even if you go to the flow chart that's in the download section, that gives you a lot of different flow. But as far as building science, I do have a 3-module course inside the course, and I even uploaded one on fire, but I haven't done the video on it yet. So some of it's there. It's really a matter of me just taking some time to really going through and talking about building science. And the other part is the reason why I've been holding back on it, is I have a couple of gaps in my knowledge base, and one of them has to do with high humid environments. I'm really dialed in on the West Coast. West Coast is completely different than the East Coast. The West Coast is cooler temperatures. We got the Pacific Ocean. We've got arid climates and cooler temperatures. The Pacific Ocean is a cool body of water. East Coast, it's a warm body of water. You've got all that water coming from the Gulf, coming all the way up, and it's a higher humid environment. So it's kind of a gap for me, and I've been wrestling with it, with a lot of the issues the builders deal with. That's one of the reasons why, because I can go at 7,000 feet and build, and I can build at 1,000 feet in the same region, which is mostly arid. But back east, it's a completely different story. So I've been waiting and building my knowledge base, and so that I can feel a little more comfortable with that. But yeah, there's a lot there on the course. There's a good resource right now with the building science, and I'll be adding to it as time progresses. So, Michael, I get hung up in all the nitty gritty details, and then it drags things out. Yeah, that's true. We can get so hung up on the exact, like, it's process versus product, and you have to be able to separate those two. And the nitty gritty is all about those steps. And like I have a concrete guy who is a technician, and a technician is a guy that doesn't trust anyone else to do it. He has to do it himself, and he's my same age, so he does it. Meanwhile, other guys that he hires, they would ask him, "Why are you doing it this way? It's just easier to just do it this way." He goes, no, I like to get down on my hands and knees. You don't have to get down on your hands and knees. You can do it from up top. And so that's getting into the nitty and gritty. And I'll tell you this, owners of companies that are technicians that can't move into the ownership phase of a business and eventually can't go into the phase of entrepreneurs and eventually investors, they can't grow their business. And what happens is they're stuck doing the work. They can't build and train others to do the work. And so if you're stuck in the nitty gritty, relax and let somebody else do the work. Just try it. And I used to be a roofer and I did all my own roofs and I didn't trust anyone else to do it. I finally fell off a roof and promised my wife I wouldn't get on roofs anymore. And I was forced on me, but now that I see others do it and hey, it's not bad. It might be a little different from me, but it's okay. And I get past the insecurity that it's not exactly the way I do it, but it still does the job. Okay.
We need to go back up to Peyton.
Okay.
He said, and how long do you plan to do these lives?
Well,
there's a highlight.
My son approached me today and he wants to help out with how to build. And he wants to start doing some videos and start learning. He has a lot of construction background on him. I really want to get into the training side and improving the back end like we were talking about with building science. And if I can get out of the field, because I'm a working builder, I'm in my truck, I go to job sites and I spend all day running around. If he can take up the slack, then I can build the course curriculum the way I want to. And I have kind of another side thing that I want to do, which is how to be a contractor. Not just the general contractor, but any subcontractor, any independent contractor, anyone who has a skill set out there. How do you transition from working for somebody else to maybe selling your trade, your skill, or what have you on the side? And I've been thinking about it, and I have kind of a pathway to maybe open that up, because I think we need more opportunities for competition in the field. We need more people thinking that they can be independent. And the trades are probably the widest open arena for job security opportunities in the future, because tech is being taken over by AI. Doctors and lawyers and you name it, they're all going to struggle with what's coming on. Technology is going to replace a lot of that. But when it comes to construction, it's not going to be that case. So I think it could be a burgeoning opportunity. For the trades are in desperate need of new people. A lot of them have come and gone and retired. So that's what I'm thinking. But I need to get out of the field and get out of my truck and be here and be in that creative phase. So a long time.
So you think we'll just keep going? We'll keep having lives as long as people are showing up.
Yeah. So
okay.
When it gets to like 5 people on live,
no, we'll still show up for 5
people. We'll still show up. But we like it when there's like 100 people or 75 people.
We'll take whatever we can get. We love all of you.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Honey Caffeino, what type of exterior water sealer for an Omni block house do you like? I only want to paint it on once and having it last for years. You're not going to do any stucco on that or any kind of company located in Southwest East Michigan. You can do, I'd probably do a finish coat of something. You can do a stucco, but you don't have to do the finished color coat. You can just do the gray coat, but you have to put some bonding material in it, which is a synthetic glue, so that the gray coat can actually bond to the Omni block. But yes, I would seal it, because it's not, I mean, concrete's porous. It can absorb water. It's vapor permeable as well. So I would put a sealer on there. But I would do something that's more of a finish. And if you do the stucco, and the finish cut is more of the seal than the gray coat. Gray coat's not necessarily a seal coat. You can put a synthetic glue on there. It looks like Elmer's glue, but it's a synthetic glue. And they put that on there before they put the gray coat, and that's somewhat of a seal. You might even look into some concrete sealers to put on there. That might help as well. I mean, it's an 8-inch thick wall, and the thermal break in that wall is pretty insane. So nothing's really going to get through, but it'd be nice to protect it. But I would reach out to Denny and ask him if he has some ideas on that. You can even just paint it with an exterior paint, but a really thick primer. But I'm more interested me in a stucco finished product, and you wouldn't see the block. It helps hide the block entirely. So check that out. Okay. Good question. Robert, are you okay with 1 inch of spray foam for seal plate transition from basement first floor and the first floor, second floor transition, and the rest as net and blow? 1 inch of spray foam, as long as it's not under the plate, because I was confused with seal plate transition. If it's the transition, fine, but not under the seal plate. They have something called seal, which is a roll of product, and it's a closed cell product, and you roll it out. It's almost about close to a 1/4 inch, but a little less than that, probably about 3/8 inch thick. And you roll it out, you put it under your seal plate with your treated lumber bottom plate. And then it wouldn't be bad to seal, like you're talking about, 1 inch of foam. You're going to get probably, I think it's R6 or R7 of value, R value in that. And the other thing you'll get is a little bit of rigidity. That closed cell foam acts as some form of rigidity, and it helps with your shear. If I was in the Midwest and I had some hurricane issues, that's one area where I wouldn't mind just plastering the whole undercarriage of the roof with that product, because it's going to add a lot of stability to the entire roof, as long as my hurricane straps are really held down nice and tight. And I would also do my trusses on 16 inches on center. I wouldn't do them 2 foot on center. That would also help. And my sheeting, I'd do 5/8 inch thick. I wouldn't do anything less than that, like 932s. I'd do something thicker. That's going to help as well to also hold that that foam. The reason why I'm mentioning all that is because if you've got your trusses on 2 foot on center and you got a thin the wafer OSB up there, and you walk on that, that rigid foam is going to crack, and it could actually fall off the bottom of that sheeting. So if you have a more rigid structure, then it's going to stay rigid, and the more rigid it stays over a period of time, that's actually going to help with the entire roof structure. So good question though. Joel, I love this channel. One day I will become a contractor. Cool. I think you're there.
We're here cheering you on.
Okay. Andrea Menegat. That's a cool name. Hello, I hope you continue to assist us. I'll laugh out loud. You touched last week about joining networking groups. What do you think about BNI groups? Don't do it. I'm going to be honest with you. All right. BNI is, I'm just being straight up. Okay. It's great for passing referrals. It's great to kind of get out there, but it's a franchise. And I don't believe in franchises in a form of a business network. So you pay your fee, and it's now about $1,100 to be in a BNI network.
Somebody else said $1,300 on one of the other
$1,300, and all that money leaves your community and feeds a franchise. Mm-hmm. I created a model that's superior to BNI, and it's called Local Commonwealth. And we've got our first chapter here in Southern Utah called the Dixie Business Network. You can go to DixieBusinessNetwork.com, and I would just start your own. Here's the difference with BNI. You're going to listen to the same person over and over every week pitch their business. In our model, you come in and you meet somebody one-on-one for 15 minutes, and then we go around the room and we pitch each other. And the benefit of that is that somebody actually gets to know you, and you get your one-on-one all at the same time. With BNI, you have to go and have these individual meetings with people. But we get it done right there, and they know your business. They're pitching your business, and they do it better than you.
Yeah, it helps with your marketing, because then you hear what people are getting from the way you explain it. And it also comes across with more credibility when somebody else is explaining your business. It's almost like they're promoting it. if that makes sense. It's more of like a referral than spouting your own business.
And the fees, like our network, we have a little over $10,000 in the bank. And so you can't say that about a BNI chapter. And so we have resources. We've spun off really cool ventures in our group. And so it's really neat. And we have a better feel for business awareness. And we do a lot of neat things in our group.
Can I tell them the story?
Yeah.
Okay. So Keith here locally actually was the top BNI. He helped build the top BNI group. And one night we were sitting and we were thinking about all the different groups that are in our area. We added up the money. It was over $250,000 leaving our community, not helping any of the BNI members at all, leaving the community, going to Mr. CEO. And we thought, what if we created a network of systems that kept that money locally? What could we do with $250,000 every year? We could have our own groceries, our own doctors. You just don't know what you can build if you come together and have that much money. So that was the reason why we started looking into different networking and created the local Commonwealth.
Yep. So go to DixieBusinessNetwork.com. You can look at our stuff. And if you want, I can help you teach you how to create your own network. And that would be very invaluable.
Yeah. Keep it local. Keep that balloon with no holes and all the air going out, really the money going out. Keep everything local.
Yep. Okay. Michael, have you found a nice looking small form factor exterior outlet cover? Not really. I found some outlet covers for spigots, water spigots that are different, but not really. They haven't really come far. You can probably find some specialty items through a specialty resource, but I haven't really gone that route. I do know that if I was building in California on the coast, close to the coast where there's a lot more moisture, I'd be doing something. If I was back east along the coast, I'd be trying to find something a little better for better protection. But again, I build in an arid climate where I don't have that kind of a problem. So, but there are some that have a cover on them. And there's one that I like that's a metal that's got, and you can get them at box stores, and they come in white and gray and black. And it just flips open and you plug your thing in. But when it closes nice and secure. And it's got a black rubber gasket on it. So if you hose it off, water's not going to get in there. And you can get that basically at any box store. And it's really a cover plate. It's not a full encased box, but it's a cover plate that goes over the whole housing. Okay, Laura, do you have any Omniblock home builds coming up? I thought there was one, but I haven't seen anything.
The Cedar City one.
What's that?
The Cedar City one. They were going to do Omniblock.
Yeah,
changed to lumber.
We changed one. The Omniblock, the price of lumber just shot down. It was 28% below its high in the COVID area, so I went with stick built. We were going to do one in Washington City down south here just recently, but again, I look at the numbers and I was really going to be tight on it. So I ended up going with stick built. So I can go either way sometimes, but I have to make that call based upon the budget of the client. There's some other blocks out there, and it's called Fast Wall. To be honest with you, I love Omniblock. I love Denny. I love what he's doing. He's helping a lot of people. That product is going to be phenomenal. High earthquake zones, high hurricane zones, coastal areas where wood is going to be rotting too much. What he's doing is pretty phenomenal. But there's another product called Fast Wall, and it's manufactured out of Oregon, and it's dry stack, meaning you don't need a mason. You can literally dry stack these yourself. They're a little more money, but the R value is pretty insane. The same engineering is going to be phenomenal, and you can screw things in full fascia material. You can even screw in, you don't even need to put on drywall. You just mud it directly on there. You can even mud on directly stuck on if you want to. So I've got a product sample of that back in my garage. I've been really looking at that. If I do another build personally, I probably do one like that and just dry stack them myself. That's what I'm looking for. One of the first videos I've done that's got hundreds of thousands of views is the real cost of a home, and it's in that exterior wall. So if I can do insulation and wall stack all at the same time with the same hands, I'm eliminating a subcontractor having to stand there to do that work. And if I can eliminate some other work, typically there's 6 to 7 different subcontractors to build a wall: electrical, siding, sheeting, exterior, brick, rock, whatever, interior, drywall, paint, primer, etc., tape and texture. There's all these different crews coming to do something in this little particular section. That's the real cost of a wall, real cost of a home. So if I can shave that to some degree a little bit, that's for the real savings in a home. But I've been investigating technologies that are going to do that. And right now I think Fastwall is closer to that than anyone else. So just keeping my eyes open. Philip Michael Gerber has a great book called E-Myth Contractor about getting away from trying to do everything yourself. Yeah, it's based upon the E-Myth book, and really, really, really good book. And I wish I could get a lot of subcontractors to read this, but they haven't. The really successful ones move beyond being in the thick of it, and they start to hire people and they grow. But that does increase the stress, but it also creates the opportunity for you. And so there's a lot of people that are hesitant with hiring. They're scared to do it. They don't know how to do it, and they just need a little tutoring and mentoring on how to do that. So good comment. Fly jump. That's cool. Our taller sliding glass doors worth a 50% price increase.
Do you have a good view?
If you have a good view, or if you're in a cold climate and you've got some passive solar coming in to heating up your home during the day, that's a real positive. But if it's north facing and you're in a cold climate, I wouldn't go that route. I would shrink the size of that window substantially, unless of course your view is pretty stellar. But you have to weigh in the loss of heat, the loss of efficiency. Glass windows, the window you see here, the window behind the monitor there, those are heat sinks. They lose energy. They don't conserve energy. So most people don't realize this, but that's where your heat loss is. It's at those windows, which is why I put the big windows in the south, and there's hardly any windows on the north. So you have to weigh all those factors.
This is interesting.
That's the number one thing in passive solar, by the way, is placement of windows. TC, I want to start a business as an ICF contractor as an expansion of my dad's 30 years swimming pool installation business. Working as a subcontractor would be new. How can I get work in this niche? I would work and research and find suppliers first, and some of them might give you some training. So contact an insulated concrete form contractor, one that's close to you, and tell them you're a builder. You've got a build job coming up, and can I come do one of your builds to do some training and learn from you? That's what I would do. And then call yourself an ICF, a contractor who specializes in ICF contracting. So, and then you can eventually get on their builder list. One person called me, it was about Powerwool, and they wanted to put me on their builder list as a builder who installs using their product. So if you can get on their builder list, that also helps too. Again, it's networking, getting out there and meeting people. That's really the thing you're going to want to do. And then find the ICF company that you like, that's close to you. But keep in mind, not all ICF products are the same. The best ones have a black or other strip embedded inside the ICF so that it makes it very easy to apply drywall. Also very easy to apply an exterior to it. And those are the more advanced ICF products. Those that don't have that make it really hard to affix other products to the ICF wall. So look into the ICF wall, how advanced it is. and see if you can't go to one of their training sessions. And they're open. They have those training sessions throughout the country, and just do your research and see what you can find. Okay.
Okay, 2 more.
Okay, Andrea, 1300 here in Charlotte. Thanks for your honesty. Can you please write the name you just said? Dixie what?
Yeah.
Dixie Business Network.com. DixieBusinessNetwork.com.
Local Commonwealth.
And localcommonwealth.com. Reach out to me and I can give you all the information you need. You don't need to be spending that much money for a business network.
Yeah. We started at $750. She asked how much do you all charge? It's $750.
Right now it's only $680 a year.
$680. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit.
Fund, and then the members decide where the money will be used.
Yep, the members decide. So I'd love to help you get a network going up there. If you want to do something, all you need is 3 leaders to do it, and 22 people. When you get 22 people and 3 leaders, I will fly up there and I will help you get started. Okay, you just let me know.
Wow.
Okay, Andrea, how much do you all charge with the group you have? That's $680. RT ribs. Would you use open or closed self-spray foam in the desert, Las Vegas? The installation cost on my current build for R40N9 installation is crazy between open, closed cell, or roof bats, sealed envelope. The neat thing about Vegas is it's super arid and you're going to have less risk of moisture being trapped, such as between the sheeting on the roof and the closed cell foam, and it dries off pretty quick. And so it wouldn't be a bad thing. Again, I don't use too much closed cell foam, but if I did, I would use it in an arid climate more so than in a humid climate. So Vegas would be a good spot for that. Just get some bids from that and call different installation companies and see what kind of numbers come in for them. Okay.
Oh, this next one is interesting.
Ross, I can't say that name. Sidorenko. Hope I said that right. When looking at 1.5 acre lot that needs a well and septic, is it likely that a well will be found successfully? Depends on where you are.
There's a lot of variables to that.
Yeah.
You can't just say, yeah, you should find one, because there's places here an acre and a half that they can drill all they want. They're not going to find water. Yeah.
Get a water witcher. The odds are greater if you use a water witcher. Second of all, you might want to talk with a geologist, but a deep geologist who's familiar with something called 3D seismic. 3D seismic gives you the strata that's below almost a quarter of a mile down, several hundred feet down, versus most geologists do a core sample for structural. They might go down 20 feet, but you need someone who's familiar with a lot of the strata that's going to, because you may end up going down 300 feet to get water. And ask around other wells, ask them how deep is your well. And if you get 4 or 5 other wells and it tells you how deep they are, that's going to tell you what the situation is. The worst thing is you don't want to have to do a core sample and you run into just solid basalt or solid rock, and you don't find any water, but maybe 20 feet away you will. I had a client that I was consulting years ago, and they went and had 3 core samples. And I said, did you use a water witcher? No. The drill guy said he has a good guess in himself, but he wasn't using the witcher technology, which is 2 strings and they kind of point where water is going. She finally brought a witcher on and he found water for her. So it's intuition. Just use the added intuition to help you with the best guess. And witchers have a better best guess than just a drill guy who doesn't have that intuitive ability. So, and
in our state, in Utah, you have to have a water right to get a well. So double check on that if you have to have a water right even to drill for a well.
Right. Okay.
Let's see what else.
Right here. Closed cell installation is triple the cost. It is. Open cell is about double the cost of bats. if they're all R49, why wouldn't I want to do bats? I'm more of a fan of bats because of the affordability and the breathability of it. And closed cell, open cell is more spongy, and it can fall off materials and it can shrink more. Closed cell doesn't shrink nearly as much. It can over time, but nothing is not as much as open cell. But the bats, you can pack them in there and it's fiberglass or other product, and it's not going to do its thing. It's going to stay rigid for the most part. So, and it's so much more affordable. So, good comment, question.
Okay, do you have anything else right now?
Just when it comes to stuff like this, and I kind of reiterate this over and over again with students, don't try to do something or DIY something that's very cheap in labor. Okay. For example, I've seen way too many owner builders try to DIY drywall. All right.
Oh, I do not do drywall.
The lowest paid labor in the industry, okay, is drywall and insulation installation, okay, because there's not much technical skill required in those two things. Now, tape and texture, that's a different story. There's a hand and there's an art to it. But hanging drywall, there's not much art to it. You can learn it and get through and figure it out within just a couple of weeks. And so that's why on job sites, I always find, this is sad, I'm not trying to be derogatory, but I always find beer cans and beer bottles after drywall hangers. All right, because it's the easiest trade to get into. There's not much skill in it. And some people that don't want to build the skills stay there forever, and they get their cash for the day and they go drink, they do their thing. And so drywall hanging is just, don't even go there. Don't even try, because they'll come in and do it for so cheap, so affordably. It's going to waste your time. It will take you, if you had a 2,500 square foot home with 10-foot ceilings, it would, if you did it yourself, it would take you 2 months to do that all by yourself. We're a crew of 3. They can even, I've even seen a crew of 2. They're so efficient, so fast. They come in and do it, and that's where you save your money. You don't try to do it yourself. The things I like to do myself are the things that I like to do. I wouldn't want to do something that somebody else is better at and cheaper than me. So.
Well, we did do our own insulation once, just because the insulation company was so far out, and they weren't coming. So we did it ourselves.
Yeah. I've done that, and because there's some aspects of that are not bad, but I still, looking back, I won't do it. You know, I like to do the things that I want to have control over. I love doing my own dirt work, and guess what? How much money I save on that is astronomical. Yeah. Like, I bought 2 pieces of equipment that were totaling $80,000. Before I built the home I'm in right now, I had a lot of jobs lined out. The bid on this home that we're at right now came in at $95,000. So I have 2 pieces of equipment, and one's paid off and one's almost all the way paid off. But now I can pick up work, and I'm using the equipment to help control costs on other jobs. It worked out just great. That's where I save money, is I go after something big, and that is just so cost beneficial over time that I can't help it but save money. So, and I now make more money because of it. So, Pronto Builders, Keith, most of the builders around here don't get geotechnical reports, just good solid footings, etc. I know you're strongly against that, right? I am, but you could be in an area where there's consistency for a long period of time, a long distance, and you're probably in a flatter area. You're probably not in a mountainous area, and you're probably not by any ocean. If you're in the mountain areas and your elevation is changing rapidly, I can go down and I can build at 1,800 feet, and then within 30 minutes, I'm almost to 7,000 feet. And so that changes rapidly, and the soil composition changes insanely along that huge. And that's why they call it the Grand Staircase Monument, which is where we most of where we are. So I can't mess around. So, but some areas it's a consistency, and that's just the way it is. So, but I still would like to get some samples, and I would still make sure I get some compaction underneath my footings. So. T-Ribs, are custom cabinets worth the extra cost? What's been your experience with cabinets?
Can I say a little bit?
Yeah, I'll let my wife say it.
Most people don't know the difference, except for my higher end clients. They know the difference. There's different stages of cabinetry that you can do. So depending on what you're building will determine really what you want to do on cabinets. If you're going for a higher price point, I would do it. But if it's just a regular home, you can. I still wouldn't want to go cheap because I guess there are some that they're getting better. Would you say cabinets are getting better even at
Well, most cabinets are pretty good on the fascia part, which is that hard solid wood. It's the box where it can get to be really cheap. A lot of them just use the melamine and other stuff like that. When I open a drawer and I see dovetail in the drawer, I say, oh, they took the time. This is solid. But when I open a drawer and I see it's glued and stapled, I know that the whole box, the whole cabinet isn't as high a quality as I'd like. And to me, I see that quality immediately in the drawer when I open it up. So.
And I've taken lots of clients to different homes, and it's only those that have built homes prior or are luxury buyers. They know the difference with the cabinets. Hope that helps.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just go to Home Depot, Lowe's. I've even had a client remodel and do IKEA.
Yeah. Okay, next one here. T-Ribs, these buildings like to install the baseboards before flooring. What's your process with baseboards? Do not put your baseboards, only if it's carpet. But if you've got solid floor, tile floor, laminate, whatever, even vinyl, do not put your baseboards on until you get that flooring installed. And people who do it, you're going to see the gap. When you get the flooring down first, they can put that baseboard right on the bottom of that. And it's a snug fit and it's a cleaner fit. So don't let them do that to you unless it's carpet. Carpet's a different story because they put it up, a half inch or 3/4 of an inch up at the top. And then they put their tack strip down, and then they tuck the carpet between the tack strip and that baseboard. So it tucks in there. That's the only time you want to put your baseboard in first is before carpet.
Brady had a good point.
Pronto Builders, no one in my area, Rural Mountains, Wyoming, gets geotech done as it's not required by county or towns here. We just do soil cut for septic.
That's Brady.
Yeah.
Brady builds. Thanks, Brady. We always appreciate you in the comment section.
A lot of it's because of the permitting office. It's so rural, so not much building going on that a geotech person couldn't even afford to stay in business, to be honest with you. So they just say, okay, just make sure you compact your footings and be done with it. So, but then again, you don't know what you're going to run into, what kind of risks you're going to come into. So I know of my brother-in-law is doing a project up in Jackson Hole. And when they did the geotech, they had to hire a geotech out of Utah to come all the way up there to Jackson Hole. And they had to hire a third party to come up and do all the testing up there because the local permitting office couldn't do it. They didn't have the resources to do it. So that was a larger commercial job, but they weren't going to risk anything. So they did it all right, but they had to pay to get that done right. So good comment.
Val's here. Hi, Val.
Val, we appreciate you guys. Hey, Val. Thank you. Makes sense, Brady Morgan. Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Sorry. There was Val. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Try to get her. Okay, you guys. That's That's all I have so far.
Yeah, we'll end it there. I'm
Thanks
getting
for being here.
kind of hungry. I'm gonna go in the kitchen and make some dinner. But send your questions. I had a couple of questions. I might have had one.
Oh, did you?
I want to check my email real quickly. It now live. It didn't come in. I just had a client or student that was going to try to send some questions in, but they didn't get them in on time. And she said that's okay she'll probably send it for next week. It shouldn't be a problem.
Oh.
But a lot of builders are starting right now. It's that time of year trying to get a dry in before winter starts. And just watch your weather. I'm watching it right now. I'm breaking ground on 2 homes up here. And I'm scared because it's a little later than I'd want to. I wish I could have broken down a month ago. So I'm going to be racing at some weather to try to chase it. And you'll see a lot of posts regarding that. So
do you want to do one quick?
Yeah. Level 5 drywall, worth it. Don't even go there. You can't get level drywall with traditional stick built. It's really, really hard. You have to do metal frames, or you have to do engineered walls, or your installer framer has to use cardboard backing just to get that drywall perfect. And it's a lot of labor intense. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, why do it? You have to do a flat paint to even make it look like it's level 5. And then flat paint is known for taking stains. And when you try to touch up flat paint, you can't do it right there. You have to do the whole wall. So level 5 is not worth it.
Okay, what is level 5?
Level 5 is level 5. If you go into the specifications for bidding in the core curriculum, you'll see level 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it gives a full detail of level 5. It's just super smooth, and you see no undulations, no shadows, nothing like that. And the only way level 5 even looks level 5 is if you have flat paint. And then flat paint is, like I was telling you, and once you touch it up, it's history. The whole wall has to be touched up. So I'm not a fan of level 5, not for residential, regular day living, not for any purpose at all, not even for any commercial. It's they say it because it's so sophisticated.
Yeah, it's the designers throw it out.
Here's a horror story. I was building a home up in Park City, and the painter, they were told to use this certain level of, flat paint, and it was a level 5 throughout the entire home. Well, the painter said, "Boy, this paint is really crappy paint. It's going to show every problem, take stains, and it's going to be terrible to clean." So we upgraded their home to nice paint. They wouldn't have noticed, but when they got on the job site, they saw this higher grade paint, and they were upset because it wasn't per specifications. So they made the painter repaint the entire home with this really cheap paint. Then they complained thereafter about all the stains that it took on the wall. Yeah. And so that's why I say level 5, stay away from it.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Okay, let's see. What's your preferred?
A level 4 to 3 in that range.
Okay. And yes, we do want to do a meetup. We just haven't planned one yet.
Yeah, well,
if you're on Discord, I can throw something in there maybe sometime. Are you guys want to come out to Utah? Yeah. I could plan something in Utah.
Yeah, we do something there. And any others real quick?
Yeah.
What do you think of steel framing for a house, interior and exterior? Exterior insulation could stop the condensation. There are some affordable companies near me. It's loud when you cut. It's not fun. It does wick cold through, even though you have the insulation on the outside. It's not R30. It might be R6 or something like that on the outside. So you're still going to have conductivity of heat and cold through that wall structure. Wood is not a very good insulator, but it's also not a great conductor. It's not going to conduct near as much as metal is going to do. It's lighter weight. It's in high hurricane areas, it's just going to get pulverized. There's some pros and cons. In commercial environments, it's better because it meets a lot of different fire codes. But for residential, I'm not particularly a fan of it. I have used it in some small sections. If you want level 5 throughout your entire home, use metal studs and you'll get level 5 drywall. But I don't enjoy it. I did a big commercial job where I did it because I had to, but other than that, I don't do it for residential. Okay. Okay, that's it. We'll be gone. We'll see you guys next Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if you need to send questions, send them to How to Build Your Own Home. Contact the instructor. You can go there. Take the First Steps course if you're just toying with the idea of being an own builder. That's going to point you in the right direction. And then we've got the best course online for how to build your own home. It's called the Self-Managed Course. 57 checklists, draw sheets, subcontractor agreements, budgets, you name it. Full downloadable forms, everything you need to manage the build of your own home. So check it out, howtobuildyourownhome.com. See you guys next week.
See ya.